Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
Gusty showers and some very cool temperatures are working their way through the region right now. It gets even worse this weekend. I'll have those details coming up for you.
The fire marshal is investigating a fire that ripped through one of Harrodsburg's oldest buildings.
Officials in central Kentucky are now looking for a fourth suspect in a robbery and shooting at a restaurant in Danville. Welcome to WKYT News at 4. Some big changes are blowing across the bluegrass as we transition from summer-like temperatures to chilly air and showers. Take a look. This is a live look at downtown Lexington, where it is certainly looking gray and cloudy this afternoon. Some of us seeing rain as well. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell's here now to let us know what to expect for this weekend. Hello, Jim.
All right, Amber, it looks like we're going to try to dry things up a little bit on Saturday. The problem is we're going to have winds howling through the area and some very cool temperatures. We likely don't get out of the mid-50s for daytime highs tomorrow. It is going to be a big-time change for you. Right now, though, on Kentucky's most powerful live Doppler Defender, we are tracking some showers out there, some producing some moderate rainfall in a couple of spots, but generally just some gusty showers. Good soaking of rain that we needed. It had been a while since we had any measurable precipitation across Kentucky, so we did need to get in on some of this action. And you still see a lot of it working its way from west to east all across the Commonwealth out there this afternoon. Our temperatures are running in the 70s in eastern Kentucky. We're now in the 60s in Lexington because of that rain. 67 right now in Frankfort, already showing low 60s just to our west. You compare this to yesterday, okay? We're about 21 degrees cooler in Lexington. Not quite there yet for the folks out in eastern Kentucky. Look at Louisville, 24 degrees cooler as that air is really starting to take over. We could be talking about patchy frost, wind chill readings, and things you only think of in the wintertime. I'll have more details on that coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
We will see you then, Jim. Thank you. The state fire marshal is trying to figure out the cause of an overnight fire at a historic central Kentucky building. The fire broke out just before 4 this morning at an old opera house on Main Street in downtown Harrodsburg. WKYT's Mark Barber is in Mercer County with the latest on the investigation. It's our top story at 4.
Many people say the old building sitting between Main Street and Moreland Avenue here in downtown Harrodsburg is an iconic building because it housed the city's first fire station, Old Opera House, and Old City Hall. Firefighters say the building has survived many changes over the years, and they believe it will survive the damage from the fire. Firefighters say 2 people walking past the Old Opera House spotted smoke pouring out of the building around 3:30 this morning. Fire crews tell us when they started fighting the fire, flames were shooting through the windows on the 2nd and 3rd floor. We're told much of the Old Opera House is damaged, but crews tell us the most important part of the building, the theater, is fine. Firefighters believe the fire started near the front entrance, where a construction crew has been working on the building. Neighbors who watched firefighters battle the flames say they worried the fire would spread.
The glass started popping out on this building and flames start literally billowing out of those windows. This is an old brick building, and if it had gotten involved enough, it could have collapsed. To have a building right at the end of Main Street go up in flames like that, it's not a total loss, but it's going to take a lot to bring it back.
The fire marshal and state police are now trying to figure out what sparked the flames. They say they don't know what happened, but they don't suspect arson. In Harrodsburg, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. And that building was used most recently as a worship center for a church. Some new details are emerging in a robbery and shooting case at a Danville restaurant. According to court documents, police in Danville are now looking for a 4th suspect. Rico Penix, Robin Adams, and Patrick Brand have all been arrested in connection with the shooting of 21-year-old Zoe Reed at a Danville Domino's restaurant. They're scheduled to be in court next week. At last check, Reed is still in serious condition, but she is making improvements. Penix, Adams, and Brand will all make their pleas in the Boyle County Courthouse on Monday. Coming up on WKYT News at 5, we'll have more details about this investigation. School assessment results are now in for Kentucky, and one Fayette County school is making an effort to improve. Of the 51 Fayette County public schools, 13 were classified as distinguished and 9 received proficient ratings, but 29 schools were deemed as schools that need improvement. Williams Well Wells Brown Elementary was among the lowest of elementary scores. So the United Way is working with the school system to get 400 volunteer tutors for that school. That means each student will have a tutor. We'll take a closer look at the test scores coming up on WKYT News at 4:30. We are working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30. WKYT Sam Dick joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news that's in progress. Hi, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. It's a day that many in the Bluegrass have had circled on their calendar since April. It is opening day for the fall meet at Keeneland, and the wet weather is not enough to keep some hardcore race fans away. Coming up a little bit later, Deanne Stevens takes a look at fashion for the Keeneland fall meet. This meet also features a new dirt track that replaced the poly track that was used since 2006. On WKYT News at 6, you'll hear from the track supervisor about this new dirt track. The search continues for a man wanted in a Kentucky murder case. State police now say that 37-year-old Kevin Howard of Owingsville is wanted for murder, tampering with evidence, and theft. This comes after human remains were found in the Grange City area of Fleming County on Wednesday. Charles Black has already been charged in the case. Police have not identified the victim, but they say the person lived in northern Kentucky and had been missing for more than a month. We'll have more on the investigation coming up on WKYT News at 5 and 6 o'clock. Yesterday, we told you 2 patients with Ebola-like symptoms were recently isolated in Kentucky. They were kept in isolation at the University of Kentucky Hospital while health leaders contacted infection disease specialists. Neither patient had the deadly virus. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, we talk to the Lexington EMS director about how paramedics are preparing for the threat of the Ebola virus. And that's a look at some of the news in progress. Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. The American cameraman diagnosed with the deadly Ebola virus will soon be flown back to the States for treatment. NBC News correspondent Dr. Nancy Snyderman was working with the 33-year-old cameraman in Liberia. She tweeted that she and her team are self-quarantined. In Texas, health officials are reaching out to as many as 100 people who may have come in contact with the first person diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S. Thomas Duncan exhibited symptoms of the virus shortly after arriving in Texas from Liberia. With concerns about Ebola growing here in the U.S., researchers across the country are working hard trying to come up with experimental treatments as quickly as possible. Susan McGinnis reports from the National Institutes in Bethesda, Maryland.
The most well-known experimental treatment for Ebola is ZMapp. The drug is a mix of antibodies that's produced on the leaves of tobacco plants. Americans Dr. Kent Brantley and Nancy Wrightball both received it, but Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says we just don't know if it helped them.
When it becomes more available, we'll be able to determine if it really works. Unfortunately, there's none available. All the doses have been used up, and we're not going to have any more doses until at least another month and a half or 2 months.
In Nashville at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, researchers say they are working day and night to try to develop antibodies from people who survive Ebola. Dr. James Crow hopes his research will lead to new treatments for the virus.
That we can actually manufacture or produce the naturally occurring antibodies that the patients made themselves. And then we have those as a protein that we can give as a drug.
Dr. Fauci says while current research is encouraging, experimental drugs are not the solution to this outbreak.
Healthcare providers, field hospitals, equipment, identifying, isolating, treating, contact tracing, that's how the epidemic is going to end.
The NIH also has clinical trials underway testing a vaccine that would prevent Ebola. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Bethesda, Maryland.
Another American, Dr. Rick Sacro, was treated with another experimental drug and given a serum made of antibodies from the blood of Dr. Brantley.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
U.S. stocks surged today with the Dow Industrials jumping 200-plus points after a better-than-projected payrolls report bolstered a positive view of the U.S. economy. The Nasdaq also had gains, ending the day at 4,475, and the S&P 500 rose up 21 points. The country's largest bank is reeling today from a massive data breach, one of the largest in American history. Hackers broke through the bank's defenses and stole personal information of millions of consumers. But as Mark Albert reports from Washington, the thieves failed to grab the most valuable data.
JP Morgan Chase first thought hackers stole data from about 1 million customers, but now the bank says 76 million households and 7 million businesses had information compromised. The cyber thieves got away with names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses of customers who used Chase and JP Morgan websites and apps. The bank said in a statement it had no evidence account numbers, passwords, dates of birth, or social security numbers had been taken. Still, the heist may be a goldmine for the hackers.
They're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from an exploit like this and have no risk of going to jail.
No risk.
Zero risk.
Why?
Because they live in other countries, and they live in countries that are unwilling to enforce the law.
Jim Lewis used to work as a federal technology and security expert. He says recent massive breaches at eBay, Target, and Home Depot show the vulnerability of big networks.
The banks are trying really hard on this, but the hackers are trying even harder.
Is another massive data breach inevitable?
Hackers inevitably find a way in. So it is a race, but it's not a race that we're winning, and that's why I think we're only going to see more of these.
Chase says it has not yet seen any fraud related to the breach. Mark Albert for CBS News, Washington.
JP Morgan Chase says it is not offering free credit monitoring because account numbers and passwords were not stolen, but experts say you should change your passwords frequently and alert your bank if you notice any suspicious charges. Some good news for the economy this afternoon. The Labor Department says employers added 248,000 jobs in September. That is a huge jump from August when they added a disappointing 142,000 positions. The report also showed that employers added 69,000 more jobs in July and August than previously estimated. The unemployment rate dropped to 5.9%, the lowest since July of 2008. Well, for all of those single ladies looking to snag a solidly employed single man, you need to head west. Pew Research Center calculated the top 10 cities with the highest ratios of employed single young men to single young women. San Jose, Denver, and San Diego all top that list. So there you go.
Keeneland traffic this afternoon. In and outbound Versailles Road flew over a bit ago, and traffic starting to build up. Approaching Man of War, the officer will work the button to get vehicles out of the line, but we'll see how that holds out for us. Outer loop of the circle approaching Harrodsburg Road. Also some overflow traffic there on the exit ramp that's causing stop-and-go stuff at the top of the ramp on the outer loop of the circle. Now back in the studio.
Busy afternoon. To become a WKYT Live driver and download the Waze app, go to WKYT.com. Under the News tab, click on Traffic for more information. You know, a lot of times I'm looking at my scripts while you're doing that, and my ears just perked up with the 20s.
Oh, that'll really get your attention, won't it? Ooh.
Well, today is the first Friday of October, and as tradition has it, the opening day of the fall meet of Keeneland. Tradition also speaks to having your fashion foot forward on a day like today.
That's right. Our Deanne Stevens is all about the fall fashion at Keeneland, and she joins us from the Keeneland gift shop with more. Good afternoon, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys, and happy opening day from the Keeneland gift shop, where it's fall, which means we got to talk some fall fashions, because that's really what it's all about for us ladies coming to Keeneland. What, do horses run on Keeneland? Horses here? Opening day. Kathleen Medicola is with us, and Kathleen, it really is about fall fashion, especially out here at Keeneland today.
It's always fun to see what the ladies decide to wear, and you know, it's so weather dependent. We're supposed to just dress for the season, and we've got lots of great stuff in here. We're so excited about our new things for fall.
Okay, and I understand that orange is like the color for fall, right?
Well, of course.
It's the only time you can wear orange and get away with it in Kentucky.
Exactly right. And it's not really that orange. It's a much prettier orange than, you know, that orange.
Of course. And dresses are really big this year.
Dresses are really big this year. We've brought in a lot of them. We've got Boo here in a coat and a dress from sail to sable. Beautiful silk material. A little sparkle in the coat.
And a lot of boots. We're going to see, we saw a ton of boots last year. Going to see them again this year, you said. But you can wear dresses with boots or flats or anything.
Again, depending upon the weather, you know, when we get that 80-degree day, which we get that Indian summer, during fall meet, you put the flats on. And on that day when it snows, the next day, then you put your boots on.
We're in Kentucky after all.
Exactly.
Okay, opening day and all throughout the meet, we're going to see all different kinds, you said. But this is hugely popular right now.
Hugely popular right now. This is new from Barber, so a bit of a different look for them. The boiled wool, beautiful zipper, beautiful velvet detail, wonderful twist on the white shirt with that ruffle from Elizabeth McKay. We've got beautiful new cashmere in, a little intarsia with the horseshoe. 2B's cashmere.
And I love this because this is something that you can wear to work and come on out straight to the clubhouse.
Straight to the clubhouse, and you can keep it on that night and go out to dinner in it.
Okay. And what is hot right now as far as accessories go? Because you got to accessorize when you're coming out to the races.
You have to accessorize. I think we're still seeing a lot of the long necklaces, sort of a variation on a charm bracelet, a lot of long necklaces with things hanging on the end. Of course, out here we have many variations on the equestrian theme, especially that snaffle bit. Okay. Still very popular.
All right, we're talking more fall fashions, which is what's really fun for the ladies.
It is.
And betting and having a winning horse, too.
And that. But it's all about the fashion.
Right. Happy opening day from the Keeneland Gift Shop. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Coca-Cola now has the lowest calorie soda on the market in their new Coca-Cola Life, and it doesn't have a diet label. Coke Life has 60 calories per bottle. That is 35% less than other sodas. The secret to the sweetness? Stevia, a plant-based sweetener. You'll be seeing more green labels like this one in the soda world. Pepsi is also using stevia with its new drink, Pepsi True. So which one's better, Coke Life or Pepsi True? Well, you'll be able to sample both very soon. Later this month, Pepsi True will be sold through Amazon, and Coke Life will be on shelves nationwide also next month. Well, as you might imagine, the top Halloween costumes this year are coming right off of the silver screen. Elsa from the hit Disney film Frozen is high on the list. The National Retail Federation estimates more than 2.5 million children want to dress up as a Frozen character this year. Right on their heels, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, fresh off a reimagined return to the theaters. But the #1 choice among survey respondents still a witch, with nearly 5 million trick-or-treaters wanting to go with a pointy hat and a broom. It's very easy to do that. Well, Twitter is investing $10 million on a new lab at MIT that will study social media and interpret digital content. The lab will be called the Laboratory for Social Machines. It will focus on understanding how people behave across various types of media and develop tools to make sense of social patterns. MIT will have access to Twitter's real-time public stream of tweets. And Facebook says it is changing its research policies after backlash this summer when the social media site revealed it let researchers manipulate users' feeds to see if it would change their mood. Facebook says managers will now closely scrutinize experiments on deeply personal topics, but there's no word on whether it will get consent from users before conducting this research. For more health, education, and consumer news, just log on to WKYT.com and click on Better Living.